quality assurance (QA) roles are responsible for creating and performing tests, identifying errors, and providing feedback to verify that a final product meets a company's quality requirements. In part 1 of this video series, we explore 15 quality assurance interview questions and answers. Each answer can be customized to highlight your unique qualifications and experiences. Before your interview, be sure to research the company and review the job description so you can include key skills relevant to the job role in your answers. Don't forget to watch part 2 of this series. I have posted the link in the description below. Question number 1. Why should we hire you? Hiring managers ask this to see how well you understand the role and whether you can clearly explain the value you'll bring to the team. They're listening for confidence, relevant experience, and a sense of ownership. It's also a way to test how well you match their priorities without repeating your resume word for word. You should hire me because I bring a strong mix of technical skills, attention to detail, and a deep understanding of the QA process. I know how to spot the small things that can turn into significant issues later. In my last role, I helped reduce post-release bugs by nearly 30% through more consistent regression testing and better communication with the dev team. I work well in cross-functional teams and don't just report bugs. I take time to understand where they're coming from and how we can prevent them earlier in the cycle. I also have experience with both manual and automated testing tools, which lets me adapt depending on the project's needs. More than anything, I care about product quality. I see QA as more than just checking boxes. It's about ensuring the user gets a smooth, reliable experience. I'm always looking for ways to improve process, coverage, and collaboration. I think that mindset would bring value to your team. Question number 2. When should QA start? This question checks whether you understand QA as a proactive process, not just a final gate. Hiring managers want someone who sees the bigger picture and knows how early involvement can prevent bigger issues down the line. It shows if you're thinking strategically or just waiting for the code to be ready. QA should start as early as possible, ideally during the planning or requirement gathering phase. The sooner we're involved, the better we can help identify gaps, unclear expectations, or edge cases that could cause problems later. It's not just about finding bugs, it's about helping build the right thing from the beginning. For example, I've been part of sprint planning where I could ask questions about testability and help the team clarify acceptance criteria. That early involvement meant fewer surprises during testing and less back and forth near the deadline. Waiting until the code is done usually leads to rushed testing or missed issues. QA has the most impact when we're part of the conversation early, contributing to risk assessments, setting up test environments, or even writing test cases based on the requirements before the dev work begins. Question number 3. What is a bug? This question checks for basic understanding of QA terminology. It also gives insight into how you approach problems, whether you focus just on symptoms or dig deeper into root causes. Hiring managers want to know if you recognize how bugs impact users and the business. A bug is any issue in the software that causes it to behave in a way that's different from what was expected or intended. It could be something visual, like a broken layout, or something functional, like a button not working. Sometimes it's caused by code errors, but other times it's due to unclear requirements or unexpected user behavior. What matters most is how it affects the user experience and business goals. Even a small bug can lead to frustration or loss of trust if it affects critical features. When I find a bug, I don't just report it. I try to include steps to reproduce it, screenshots if needed, and context on what I expected versus what actually happened. Understanding what a bug really means helps me communicate better with both developers and stakeholders. It's not just about pointing things out, it's about improving the quality and reliability of the product overall. Question number 4. What is the QA testing lifecycle? Hiring managers ask this to confirm that you understand the full testing process, not just running test cases, but planning, execution, and closure. They want someone who can fit into their QA process and knows how to track and improve testing over time. The QA testing lifecycle includes a series of steps that help ensure software is tested thoroughly and consistently. It usually starts with requirement analysis, where we review what needs to be tested and clarify any gaps or risks. Then there's test planning, where we define the scope, tools, roles, and timelines. After that, we write and review test cases during the test design phase, followed by test environment setup. Once everything's in place, we move into test execution, running the tests, logging defects, and tracking outcomes. Test closure is the final step. That's when we analyze test results, gather metrics, and create documentation to summarize what was tested, what was found, and what needs follow-up. This cycle helps structure the work and ensures we're not missing anything critical. It also gives the team a clear picture of where we are in the process and what still needs attention. I've found that following the full cycle helps reduce rework and builds more confidence in releases. Question number 5. What does a test plan include? Hiring managers want to know if you can organize and lead testing efforts, not just follow instructions. A solid test plan shows you understand how to structure your work, prioritize tasks, and communicate clearly with stakeholders. It also reflects how detail-oriented and prepared you are. A test plan outlines everything that will guide the testing process for a specific project or feature. It usually includes the scope of testing, objectives, resources needed, testing methods, manual or automated, environment setup, roles and responsibilities, and a clear schedule. It should also list what's in and out of scope, as well as any risks or assumptions. In one of my last roles, I created a test plan for a new payment integration feature. I started by reviewing the functional specs, then documented key test scenarios, test data requirements, and timelines. I made sure to identify edge cases and included rollback procedures in case something went wrong post-release. We used the test plan as a living document, updating it as we went. It helped keep the entire team aligned and allowed us to report testing progress more clearly to stakeholders. For me, a strong test plan is like a roadmap. It keeps the whole testing effort focused and efficient. Question number 6. What did you do in your last project? This helps hiring managers understand your actual experience, what tools you used, what challenges you faced, and how hands-on you were. They want to know how much responsibility you took on and what results you contributed to. It's also a chance to see how well you explain technical work to non-technical people. In my last project, I was the lead QA on a web-based customer dashboard. My role included reviewing requirements early on, creating a test plan, and coordinating with both developers and product managers. I wrote and executed test cases for all the core features, like login, billing, and account settings, while also running API tests using Postman and UI tests with Selenium. We had tight deadlines, so I worked closely with the devs to clarify bugs quickly and retest fast after fixes. I also set up smoke tests for each build so we could catch major issues early in the pipeline. During UAT, I supported the product team by helping document test feedback and ensuring final approval before go live. The release went smoothly, and we had fewer post-launch issues than any previous release. I felt proud of how our testing helped prevent problems and build trust in the new dashboard. I enjoy working hands-on like that and being part of a team that values quality. Before we continue, I just want to take a moment to thank you for watching this video. You can download a copy of these interview questions and answers in PDF format by clicking on the link below and supporting my channel by making a minimum donation of $3. Your support allows me to keep creating valuable content to help you pass your interview and land your dream job. Thanks for your support and appreciation. Question number 7. What is a use case? Hiring managers ask this to see if you understand how requirements are translated into real-world functionality. Use cases help ensure everyone, developers, testers, and stakeholders, is on the same page. They want to know that you can think from the end user's perspective and apply that thinking during test planning. It also shows whether you're detail-oriented and able to connect business needs with test coverage. A use case is a description of how a user interacts with a system to achieve a specific goal. It outlines the steps involved, the conditions under which the action occurs, and what the expected outcome is. Use cases are helpful in understanding the user flow, and they help guide both developers and testers when building and validating features. In QA, I use cases to design meaningful test scenarios that mimic how an actual user might behave. For example, if we're testing a login function, the use case would include entering valid credentials, what happens when the credentials are invalid, and how the system should respond to each. It's a great way to stay aligned with user expectations and ensure the product functions well under real-world conditions. I rely on use cases regularly during requirement analysis and test planning. Question number 8. What is the difference between severity and priority? This question checks your understanding of bug triage and how you communicate issues with developers and product teams. It's important in QA to know which problems should be fixed first and how they impact the user and business. Hiring managers want to know that you can assess impact logically and help the team make smart decisions. Severity refers to the impact of a bug on the system's functionality, while priority refers to how urgently it needs to be fixed. For example, a crash on the payment page would be both high severity and high priority because it affects revenue and users directly. But a typo in a help message might be low severity yet high priority if it's going into a customer demo the next day. When I log defects, I make sure to clearly explain both severity and priority so developers understand the context. I've found that having a consistent method for evaluating both helps the team stay focused on what really matters. I usually discuss edge cases with the product owner or developer if there's any doubt. The goal is to keep the release stable while resolving issues in the right order. Understanding that difference is crucial when timelines are tight. Question number 9. What is the difference between assert and verify commands in test automation? This question tests your technical knowledge of automation frameworks and your ability to write reliable tests. Assertions and verifications affect how test scripts behave when something fails. Hiring managers want to see that you understand control flow in automation and can design tests that either stop or continue based on the situation. In automation, assert is used when you want the test to stop immediately if a certain condition fails. It's typically used for critical validations, like confirming a user is successfully logged in. If the assertion fails, there's no point in continuing the test because the rest of the steps would be invalid or misleading. Verify allows the test to continue even if the condition fails. It's useful when you want to log multiple issues in one run or when the failure isn't critical to continuing the test flow. For example, if I'm verifying the presence of several UI elements on a dashboard, I might use verify so I can report all the missing ones at once. Knowing when to use assert versus verify helps keep test runs efficient and informative. I use both depending on what makes the most sense for the test's purpose and stability. Question number 10. What is the difference between quality assurance, quality control, and quality testing? This question helps hiring managers evaluate whether you see quality as a full life cycle responsibility, not just something done at the end. They want someone who understands the broader process and can contribute to planning, prevention, and improvement. A solid answer shows that you see quality as a team effort and a mindset, not just a task. Quality assurance is about the processes and practices that help prevent defects before they occur. It includes setting up standards, reviewing documentation, and being involved early in development to catch risks upfront. Quality control, on the other hand, is more focused on identifying defects in the final product, usually through inspections, walkthroughs, or testing results. Quality testing fits within quality control. It's the actual hands-on process of executing test cases, finding bugs, and validating that the system behaves as expected. So QA is proactive, QC is reactive, and testing is a method used within both. In my work, I try to contribute across all three. I like being involved early to help write acceptance criteria, running tests to catch issues, and working with developers to improve future releases. Understanding the differences helps me stay focused on prevention, not just detection. Question number 11. What are the key benefits of automation testing in software development? Hiring managers ask this to assess whether you understand when and why automation adds value. They want to hear about real advantages like speed, repeatability, and coverage, not just buzzwords. Your answer helps them gauge your experience and whether you know how to balance manual and automated testing. Automation testing is a big time saver, especially for regression and repetitive tasks. Once scripts are set up, they can run overnight or on demand without extra effort, which speeds up the release cycle. It also increases consistency. Automated tests don't miss steps, and they're not affected by human fatigue or distractions. Another benefit is scalability. As the application grows, you can run hundreds of tests across different browsers or devices, helping catch issues early. Automation also frees up time for manual testers to focus on areas that need more creativity, like exploratory testing or UI feedback. That said, I'm careful not to automate everything. I focus on stable, high-value areas where automation gives the best return. When done right, it makes the whole QA process more efficient and reliable. Question number 12. What would you include in an automation test plan? Hiring managers ask this to see how well you understand the planning side of test automation. They want to know if you can create a well-thought-out structure that includes test coverage, tool selection, and team coordination. It also helps them assess whether you're able to connect business goals with technical implementation. When creating an automation test plan, I like to start with clear goals. What are we trying to automate and why? I include the scope of automation, specifying which test cases are high priority based on risk, frequency, and stability. Then I outline the tools we'll use, whether it's Selenium, Cypress, or another framework, and define the environments required. I make sure to include test data strategies, test case structure, and scheduling. For example, which tests run with each build and which are part of nightly runs. Reporting is another big part, so I plan how we'll track pass-fail rates and how we'll flag flaky tests. Roles and responsibilities are also key. Everyone should know who writes, reviews, maintains, and monitors the tests. Automation is a team effort, and the plan has to be practical, not just technical. If the test plan is solid, the framework tends to follow smoothly, and we can catch issues earlier without wasting time maintaining unnecessary tests. Question number 13. Are test strategies and test plan the same document? This question tests your understanding of foundational QA documentation. Hiring managers want to see if you can distinguish between big picture planning and day-to-day execution. It also gives them insight into how well you communicate QA practices to team members and stakeholders. I don't consider them the same, though they're definitely connected. A test strategy is broader. It's a high-level document that defines the overall testing approach for a project or organization. It outlines goals, testing levels, tool choices, risk analysis, and how quality will be measured. It's usually created early and doesn't change often. The test plan is more detailed and specific to a feature, sprint, or release. It includes what will be tested, how it will be tested, the test environment, timelines, and the people involved. It also outlines the exit criteria and what constitutes a successful test. So, while a strategy sets the direction, the test plan drives the execution. Both are important, and the test plan should always align with the strategy. Understanding the difference helps teams stay organized and focused without losing sight of the bigger picture. Question number 14. What do you think are some advantages of manual testing? This question shows whether you value both manual and automated testing. Hiring managers want to hear if you understand where manual testing plays a strong role, especially in exploratory, UI, or usability-focused scenarios. They also want to see that you're thoughtful and flexible in your approach. Manual testing has some real advantages, especially when you're dealing with usability, UI checks, or cases where human observation is key. When something just doesn't look or feel right, a person can spot it instantly, even if automation wouldn't catch it. It's also great for exploratory testing, where you're navigating through the app to uncover unexpected behavior or edge cases. Manual testing can be more flexible when requirements are still evolving or not clearly defined. Instead of waiting for automation scripts to be built, manual testers can jump in and provide quick feedback. It's also helpful when doing initial validation before automating a test, sort of a first sweep to make sure the test case is worth scripting. I think both types of testing are important, and knowing when to apply each one helps the whole team move faster without cutting corners. Manual testing is still a critical piece of the QA puzzle. And finally, here's the last question. Question number 15. What is a good test case? Hiring managers use this to evaluate your approach to test design. They want to see if you understand clarity, reusability, and how to focus on expected results. It also gives insight into how well you balance technical coverage with user-focused thinking. A good test case is clear, concise, and focused on one specific scenario. It includes a well-written title, preconditions, step-by-step instructions, expected results, and the test data required. It should be easy enough for someone else on the team to follow and understand, even if they didn't write it. I also think a strong test case should trace back to a requirement or user story. That way, we're making sure each test has a clear purpose and adds value. If something fails, we want to know exactly what went wrong and why. And a good test case helps with that. I try to write test cases that are maintainable and not overly complex. If a test tries to cover too many things at once, it becomes harder to debug or reuse. Whether it's for manual or automated execution, clear test cases save time, reduce errors, and support better collaboration across the QA team. If you want to learn more on how to land jobs and reach your career goals, don't forget to hit that subscribe and bell notification button to get new videos every single week. Also, don't forget to hit that like button because that motivates me to keep doing what I do. Stay safe, keep smiling, and good luck.